Today we're gonna make a grilled rack of lamb. We have a small rack of lamb here because there's only 2 of us. We didn't want to get a large one. If you see, there's quite a lot of fat. It's very thick, and you do want some fat on it, but you don't want it to be quite this thick. So what we're gonna do is trim off some of the fat. Now you can see there's still quite a lot of fat on this rack, but we've taken a lot of fat off. The reason for that is because you want to make sure it cooks through properly and cooks this part of the meat when it's on the grill. The next step is to prepare the rub that we're going to put on this rack of lamb. We start with some finely chopped garlic. This is fresh rosemary that we've just washed it. We're going to remove the leaves and start to chop that rosemary to add to the rub. About this amount should be enough for our purposes, since our rack of lamb is not that big. So then we just start chopping it very finely. You can smell the flavor, it's very strong. It smells amazing from the rosemary. Just gonna add it to the garlic. Next, we're gonna add some Dijon mustard, some honey, and then we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil. There's really no right proportions. It's gonna be based on the size of the rack of lamb you're making. So for our purposes, this is more than enough to cover the rack of lamb. And then we're gonna mix it up. It smells really fantastic. The next step is to salt and pepper this rack of lamb before you apply the rub to it. Because of all the fat, it's important to make sure you use enough salt on this. This is sea salt. I'm gonna make sure I do it liberally. And by the way, when we bought this, it's been cleaned and Frenched, so there's no film or anything on it. All the excess fat and meat from the legs has been cut off. All we had to do was cut off some of the top layer of fat here. I'm gonna make sure I pepper it on the sides and salt it on the sides as well. Now we're ready to add the rub. So I'm just gonna put some on and spread it out with a basting brush. And this is gonna be cooked in high heat, so don't worry about this thick layer of rub. It's gonna cook into the meat. Same thing, cover it nicely. We're gonna leave it to sit at room temperature for at least an hour, just to let some of this flavor soak in. We're ready to cook. We're gonna put this fat side down for about 5 to 6 minutes. This requires very, very high heat, which we have, but I'm gonna put it off the coal because once the fat starts melting, it's gonna drip and cause a fire. All right, we've moved this off the fire because it was igniting, and we've had it on for about 5 minutes. Now ready to flip to the other side. All right, now to finish it off, we're gonna flip and let it cook for another minute or 2, and then we'll take it off. Some nice char, and this is bone here. So where you see char right here, there's a little bit on the meat there, but mostly the char is right on the tip of the bone.